Welcome to For the Love of Books, a podcast by Lanarkshire Libraries. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Lanarkshire Libraries podcast For the Love of Books. My name is Chris Wilson, the E-Services Librarian, and I am so grateful to be able to kind of bring season 6 to you guys of our podcast. I hope you have enjoyed listening to all the previous seasons, and if you haven't checked them out, do go back and have a look at all the episodes that we have so far. There are some cracking episodes there featuring some of our library staff, some special guests, some authors have been on the podcast as well, so it's definitely worth a look, having a look back through our previous seasons to kind of check out what's happening there. But welcome to season 6, and we're going to start off by giving you guys a big huge thank you for everyone who turned up at Let's Go Summer this summer, because it has been a huge success and it's really our first kind of main big children's activities event since reopening and COVID and things like that sort of stuff, and to have so many of you guys come through the door and enjoy the library service has been fantastic to see, and there's been a great variety of different activities for you guys to have got involved in, and you have come out and supported them all, which has been fantastic. One of the real big highlights I think for us has been how well attended the digital sessions have been that we put on, with which have kind of things been like the VR sessions, the code camps and things like that sort of stuff. It's been great to see kids coming in, learning some new skills, learning about new technology, and they have really enjoyed it. So thank you everyone who has came along to Let's Go Summer, and there's plenty of stuff in the horizon to watch out for as well, so do keep an eye out for what's coming in the very near future too. Now, what is today's episode all about? Well, if you have if you have listened to our previous podcasts, you will know that we have previously done an episode called You Know What We Read This Summer, and which is obviously a play on the horror title of the movie with the kind of similar title, and I thought we would do a kind of tribute to the horror movie genre and come out with a sequel. So we are doing You Know What We Read This Summer Part 2. And to do that, I have been in contact with a few of my friends throughout the library service, and they have provided me with little clips about what they have read this summer so far and what they've really enjoyed. And I'm also going to give us a little bit of a hint to what they have really and what they're really looking forward to listening to or reading, in the very near future as well. So you'll also get a few little book recommendations on what's happening, and also a little foresight into what might be worth picking up in the near future too. So, without further ado, we'll get started and listen to some of the clips. And after them all, I'll throw in what I have been reading as well this summer. So, keep listening.
Hello everybody, I'm Thomas Clark, Faye, Coatbridge Library, and my favourite read so far summer 2022 has been Chuck Klosterman's The 90s. It's a fascinating cultural and social history, a decade that to some of us anyway feels like it was only yesterday sometimes, and at other times feels like it was a very long time ago. The next book I'm really looking forward to reading is Acting Class by Nick Darnasso. Now, I don't know what it's about because it doesn't come out until later on in August, but Nick Darnasso's last book, Sabrina, was the first graphic novel to be nominated for the Booker Prize. It was absolutely brilliant. I fully expect his next book, Acting Class, to be every last bit as good.
Hello, I'm Phyllis. You will see me popping up in Cumbernauld and Coatbridge Library because some of us are lucky that way. My favourite read of the summer so far is Sinful Deed by Amelia Finn. Sinful Deed is the second in the May Justice series and was left on a major cliffhanger. So the next book that I'm looking forward to reading is the third book in the May Justice series, which is called Sinful Truth. And since Amelia has promised her readers a book a month for the foreseeable future, I am now off to book the 2nd of September as a day's holiday.
Hi, I'm Hilary from Motherwell Library. My favourite read so far this summer of 2022 has been The Whistleblower by Robert Peston. It's set in 1997 in and around Westminster, and as you might expect from an author who's also a political journalist, it surrounds the run-up to an election. Gil Peck is a political journalist working for one of the big newspapers. His sister Claire is killed in what initially appears to be a tragic cycling accident on her way home from work. But her job meant that she was privy to a lot of top governmental procedures and policies, and she's been working on a big idea. Not everyone is convinced that her death is an accident, however, and as Gil prepares to investigate, he starts to unravel a web that links politics, finance and the media, which puts him and those working with him in real danger. Although it's set 25 years ago, it all still felt very contemporary this summer.
Hi everybody, my name's Craig. I'm the Macmillan Project Manager for North Lanarkshire Council. My favourite read so far this summer has been Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. It's gritty, it's the follow-up to Shuggie Bain, and I wasn't expecting it to be as good, but it was just so different and has an LGBT theme throughout. Both heartbreaking and hilarious at the same time. I think that's a running theme with Douglas Stewart. Really enjoyed it. And I don't know what the next read is, and I think that's the beauty of reading. Sometimes books call to you, sometimes you get recommendations, but I'm an avid reader, so I'm very excited to see what's next.
Hi everyone, my name is Allison and I'm the Community Librarian at Coatbridge. My favourite read of the summer so far is Apples Never Fall by Leanne Moriarty. It's a great mashup of family drama and psychological thriller and of course classic Moriarty with twists and turns, great characterisation and very dry Australian humour. The story focuses on Joy and Stan, a recently retired couple who formerly ran a very successful tennis coaching business. Tennis dominates their life and the lives of their adult children. But as you would expect from Leanne Moriarty, there's a lot more to the story than that. Tensions and loyalties that have been building up over the years are unthreaded and brought together to a very satisfying conclusion. Meanwhile, it looks at sibling dynamics, relationships with ageing parents, and coping with retirement and how that can impact on a marriage. At the moment, I'm reading Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead, which switches between the past and the present, telling the story of aviation pioneer Marion Graves and the story of the actress about to be her in the movie of her life. It's a satisfyingly thick book, and both these titles would be excellent choices for a holiday read. Chris has also asked me to share with you the next book that I'm excited to read, but I obviously can't just pick one, so I picked two. Factory Girls by Michelle Gallen and The Raptures by Jan Carson. Both are set in Northern Ireland in the early 1990s. Factory Girls is a coming-of-age story ostensibly about Maeve's last summer at home, working at a job in the factory, and her relationships with her family, in her workplace, and of course with her friends. The Rapture tells of a primary school class who all contract a mystery illness, or seem to become, enraptured, and it looks at the lives of the children who are being brought up in a strict Christian household and how that impacts on their identity and worldview. Both sound like great reads infused with Northern Irish humour as well as drama. Kind of like a literary Derry Girls.
So there you go, guys. That's a few little titles from various staff from around the library service on what they have read recently and also what they're looking forward to reading in the near future as well. I hope you got some little tidbits of what you might kind of be able to pick up in the near future as well in your next visit to the library, because obviously we like to see you guys coming in and speaking to us and picking up some of the books that we recommend as well. Now, what have I read this summer? Well, the main book that I read this summer was for our Facebook book group, which everyone is welcome to come and join. If you want to come along and sign up to it on the Facebook page, you can do that, and you can join in on our little monthly discussions as well. And the book that I read was Anna McPartlin, The Waiting for the Miracle, and it was a really, really interesting read. It's about a group of women who all attend a fertility group, and they are all having issues trying to get pregnant, and they've all got different stories. And Anna McPartlin is very good at creating very real and unique characters, and you really get to kind of get the real passion behind them and really get to know the characters really, really well. And each one of them is so well defined in this book, and you also have a little backstory as well in the background that's kind of leading up to kind of where it's going to meet up with present day. And it's a really, really good story, and it's really the friendship that the women bond together is fantastic. They're a group of women who, under normal circumstances, probably wouldn't necessarily become friends, but they have that shared experience that they're trying to go through. That is what that really kind of brings them together, and they become really good friends because of it. And it's a fantastic read. I really like Anna McPartlin's books. They always hit kind of hard-hitting topics, usually that I've read so far, anyway. But they always have a good mix of that kind of serious side to it, really kind of important topics, but also with a good hint of humour and things like that in there as well, along the way to keep it kind of nice and light at certain points as well. But it's definitely a one that's definitely worth a read, and you should definitely check that out. Now, what am I hoping to read next in the next few months? Well, the big book that I'm really hoping to get read soon is Lanarkshire's Folk Tales by Allison Gilbraith, and that is because we will be speaking to her on our podcast later in the year, and I would like to kind of find out a little bit more about her book before we get her on the podcast to talk about it. Allison has researched lots of fantastic folk tales in the Lanarkshire area, and she actually spent some of the time in some of our libraries to check out some of the records and things like that to get the kind of history behind some of the stories as well. So it's a really fascinating set of stories she's put together. I've heard her talking about the book before, and it'll be a fascinating read, I'm sure. So I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into that. So what's next in the pipeline for us then? Well, Let's Go Summer has almost come to an end, and we are so pleased how well it has went, as I mentioned at the start of the podcast. But the end of the year is when libraries become really busy with some major events, because we do have things like National Poetry Day coming up, we've got Libraries Week, and we've got the big one which is Book Week Scotland, which is one that we really enjoy getting involved in, and we have begun programming for all of these big events, and we hope that you are excited about them all. Do watch out for more information about all of these events, and of course at the moment you do have until the end of August to enter our poetry competition and possibly get published on BorrowBox on National Poetry Day with our special collection that we're going to put together on that. You can find out all about that if you go to our website at culturenl.co.uk/poetry competition, and you can still get your entry in. So do that if you listen to this before the deadline, and get your entry in. Libraries Week this year is all about learning, and the digital team are really putting together a great kind of program of stuff to kind of help with that, and there's more information coming about that soon. And of course Book Week Scotland is a great event in itself, and it's themed about stories this year, and there's always lots of great stories in the to kind of talk about and get involved in, and the events will be fantastic once we get to the point where we can reveal them to you, so do watch this space for that as well. I hope you've enjoyed listening to the podcast today. We have had some fantastic book recommendations in there. Don't forget to let us know what you have been reading this summer as well. You can do that by dropping us a little message on the social media posts about this podcast episode, and let us know what you've been reading this summer and what you are looking forward to reading as well, because it's always good to find out what our library members are reading as well. So do let us know. Drop us a little message on whichever platform you use most. We have also joined TikTok, so do go and drop us a little follow on there if you have not done so already and you enjoy TikTok. We will appear in your For You page on there if you want to kind of drop us a little follow. So that's all what's been happening lately, guys. But that's all from me for now, guys. Watch out for the next episode coming soon, and we'll be back again soon. Don't forget, you can leave us some feedback on our podcast by dropping us a wee email to librarypodcast@northland.gov.uk, or of course you can use the hashtag FLBpodcast on Twitter to let us know that you have listened and what you thought of the episode. But that's all for us for now, guys. Bye!